What's up, everybody? Welcome to the VibeHouse Entertainment Podcast with your host, me, Shawn B. We recording live from iRock Local. iRock Local is a one-stop shop. It's not only a dope place to come hear some poetry, to hear some poetry on Poetry in the Park on Wednesdays. It's not only a dope place to come hear some dope music every Friday Night Lights. It's not only a dope place to come and get your t-shirts and all your apparel made, but it's also a dope place that you can come record your music and your podcast, get all your content put together. So make sure you tap in with iRock Local. So, like I said, this is the VibeHouse Entertainment Podcast. And for those of you who already know what VibeHouse Entertainment is and what we're about, thank you for rocking with us. For those of you who don't know what VibeHouse Entertainment is, it's my entertainment company. At VibeHouse Entertainment, we focus on music, models, and management. And it's been a hell of a journey when it comes to VibeHouse. One thing that I wanted to make note of and wanted to make sure I did was talk about the things that the people who have been following me on social media wanted to hear about. So I took a poll on my Instagram story and I asked my followers what were some topics they would like to hear me touch on. And the three that I got the most responses about were VibeHouse, my involvement with, I guess, working with models and stuff like that. My journey with poetry, because I don't hide that at all. I show everybody, and I love to talk about poetry and stuff like that. So people said they wanted to hear about VibeHouse, poetry. And last but not least, what kind of shocked me was people wanted to hear about my take on love and relationships and friendships and stuff like that, which I didn't know that anybody had any interest when it came to hearing about me talking about that type of stuff, but it's all good. So, VibeHouse Entertainment, how it came to be. To be honest, man, if I get right into it and try not to sugarcoat anything, VibeHouse Entertainment came from the result of a failed relationship, if I'm gonna keep it 100. So, I was in a long-term relationship, probably about 5 years, somewhere in there. And throughout that relationship, when it ended, I ended up moving, right? So I moved into a new space. And when I moved into that new space, y'all know how it is when you get out of a relationship. Y'all not together no more, but y'all still having sex. Y'all still kicking it with each other. And at some point, after you end a relationship, the question arises like, damn, am I going to get back together with this person, right? So after my breakup, I was in that space. I was in this brand new house, and I was trying to figure out, like, damn, am I going to end up getting back together with this person? God blessed me with the opportunity to get a pretty nice sized home with some bedrooms up in that mug, a lot of space. So it went from me thinking and having a mindset of like, damn, do I continue this relationship and try to keep it going, or do I transition into something new in my life? And I went from thinking like, okay, so within this house I can redo my relationship. This room can be for a kid. This room can be for something else. And all of that turned into me realizing like, no, that's not the best thing to do. So the room that I envision giving to like an unborn child, for example, that room turned into a studio. Now, how did that room end up turning into a studio? So what happened was, I was podcasting a few years ago, and I had a guest come onto my podcast, Oba Rolling. Shout out to Oba Rolling, man. So Oba was and still is one of my favorite rappers in the city of Detroit. And I asked him to come on my podcast. He was nice enough to come on. He reached back out to me and asked me to help him with some projects that he had going on. And by being involved with those projects, I not only was able to meet some dope people like Royce the 5'9", Murder Pain, just all kind of people in the music and entertainment industry. I also was able to get hands-on work when it came to being on production sets for music videos and putting stuff together. So he kind of threw me in the game with that. So in the process of working with Oba Rolling as an artist, I kind of gained the attention from another local artist in the city of Detroit, Maserati Ken. So Maserati kind of came to me and he told me, like, man, I see the stuff that you're doing with Oba. I really would love your assistance and management when it came to helping me out with some stuff. And when it came down to it, Maserati Ken was extremely talented. He had a lot of music, had a lot of stuff going on, and he was he was and is skillful when it came to just engineering music and everything inside of a studio. So we agreed to combine forces, like with the stuff I had going on, his studio, and we just started rocking out from there. So after the manifestation of the studio, it came my involvement with models, right? So we was doing the music thing, and while working with Oba, I had to put together one particular music video where it called for two girls to get topless in the video. It was like a bank robbery, and they got away from the bank robbery, and for some reason, the girls ain't had no clothes on. Shout out to Diego, because Diego directed that video. So the whole concept of the video was Oba Rolling getting in the car with two girls, and they was topless. So when Oba asked me, he was like, man, I'm trying to get this video together. You think you can find me two girls that was topless? Of course, I said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I can find that. But honestly, I had no idea where I was going to find two topless girls from. So I do what everybody else do when they're trying to figure something out. I get on Facebook. So I get on Facebook, and I make a post about needing two girls to get topless in the video. One girl that I went to high school with, my homegirl Brittany, shout out Queen B. Queen B introduced me to another girl, and they both showed up. And from there, once I put that on social media, people saw I was working with models, and I got invited to a lingerie networking party. I went to the lingerie networking party, met a lot of girls. I was in there with my camera. And to my surprise, a lot of the girls were asking me about different opportunities when it came to getting music videos and just different ways to enhance their content, all because they saw me with my camera. So I started working with models in addition to working with artists like Maserati Ken. And from there, the manifestation of VibeHouse, it just kind of took off, man. Curating content. I specialize in making music videos look better than what they generally look like in the city of Detroit. If you're in the city, most of the time your music video is going to consist of being in the house, you're going to be on the porch, or you're going to be on the block. So my whole goal was to get the artists that I work with from outside of the status quo music videos and do some dope stuff, man. Like, for example, my favorite music video that I probably put together when it comes to being aesthetically pleasing is a music video with Maserati Ken and Goodfella Tree. It was so dope, man. Like, just off the top of my head, we had abandoned school buses. It was goats in the video. We had different aerial views of the city. We was around the Russell Industrial Center. So it was just a dope video, man. So stuff like that really opened my eyes to really making content look better. Putting the video together with Oba Rolling and Doughboy Clay and coming up with the concept, finding the white room, finding the production set, finding the props. I had Oba Rolling and Doughboy Clay in the video holding my grandmother's umbrellas. You know what I'm saying? So I just realized that I was real good at putting stuff together. So when it came to being involved in curating this content, directing videos, helping the models enhance their content, when it comes to the models, I realized a lot of them that do OnlyFans, it really didn't look that appealing. And I say that because a lot of times, girls who just start OnlyFans, what they do it in the comforts of their own home, right? So the same thing with the artists, it was the same thing with the models. Like, let's get from outside of the comforts of your own home, making this content, let's do it somewhere else. So that's how I got to the point where I was getting girls and different models at production sets, camera crews, audio crews, light crews, and we was, making professional content. Now, being involved with those models and working with them, a lot of different opportunities came to me, And one of those opportunities that came to me was to attend a sex party. So I know a lot of people ask me questions about sex parties. How did I start going to sex parties? Why did I start throwing my own sex parties? And this right here is going to be my answer to all of that, so people can stop asking me them damn questions. So when it comes to the sex parties, it's a lady in the city of Detroit. She goes by Detroit Erotica, T. So Detroit Erotica, a.k.a. Miss T, she was throwing a sex party. I got invited by one of the models that I work with. And I was like, all right, I'll go. I got a free ticket. I'll pop up. And I was talking to this one young lady at the time. We had only been kicking it for like a month. And she wanted to see me. So I told her the truth. I'm like, I really can't link with you this weekend because I got something to do. She asked me, like, what you got to do? And I told her, I got a sex party I'm going to. She says, I've never been to a sex party before. I'd love to go with you. So I'm like, cool. Right before we get there, she tells me, she said, I got to tell you something. I was lying. I've been to a lot of sex parties before. I used to throw sex parties. So I'm like, damn. We walk into the sex party. She know everybody. Everybody know her. She hugging everybody. I said, damn. I just started finding out more stuff about this girl as the night went on. Mind you, it's my first date with her. So we get in there. She know everybody. I didn't know she did cocaine. She got to doing a bunch of cocaine. I'm like, damn, okay. So long story short, man, she organized a little miniature gangbang in the party. Not miniature. She organized a full-fledged, blown-out gangbang in the party. So the girl I took to the sex party, our first date, she ended up having sex with like 15, 20 dudes, you know. And I rode with her. So I had to find me another ride home because I wasn't about to stay there and wait for her to get done. So that was my first experience with a sex party. Now, am I proud of it? No. You know what I'm saying? Did it feel good to go through that experience? No. Am I glad that I went through with it? Yes. The reason why I'm glad that I ended up going through with that experience is because I learned a lot. The biggest thing I learned is that you never really know the true essence of somebody until you see them in a room filled with all the temptation that they can handle. There's no way that somebody can deny their true nature in a sex party environment. Whoever they are is going to come out. So that was like pretty cool to learn. Now, after going to my first sex party and sharing that experience with a lot of people, it got to the point where some of the models, a lot of people that was following me on Instagram, they was encouraging me to throw one. And I was like, fuck it, I'll throw my own. And they've been going pretty well, man. I've thrown, I think, like maybe 6 to this date at the point of me recording this. And I've learned a lot when it comes to sex parties, that type of environment. And none of this would have happened if I didn't go into the ventures of VibeHouse Entertainment and stepping on that, you know, just stepping on that mountain of faith and saying, you know what, I'm really in the entertainment industry, and whatever it is that people are interested in and it's within my realm, you know, I do it. So it was a pretty cool experience. Ultimately, I'm glad that everything went that way when it comes to VibeHouse Entertainment. Like, it started with heartbreak, me figuring out what I wanted to do. And you really got 2 options. You know, I feel like as a man, when it comes to that, you know, you go through heartbreak and figure out like, okay, this relationship not gonna work, what I'm gonna do? You either gonna lay down and be a bitch, or you gonna start something new. It just so happened that what I started new was a whole business for myself, and that was like cool, you know? So shout out to everybody who has helped me on this journey when it comes to VibeHouse Entertainment. Everybody I've worked with, special shout out to Maserati Ken, the artists that I've worked with, Goodfella Tree, 41 Nick. Shout out to Oba Rollin for throwing me in the game and, you know, getting me moving when it comes to doing like sweet ass shit. Shout out to all the models I've ever worked with. Special shout out to Motor City Mojo. You know what I'm saying? She, aka my coochie scout is what I call her. You know, there's been a lot of people on this journey, and I can't really think of all of them right now, but y'all know who y'all is. But moving right along, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, I got Rock in the building. What you say, Rock?
Take a short break, 60-second break.
All right, bet. Take a short 60-second break. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get right back to it. Man, right back to it like we never left. VibeHouse Entertainment, the podcast hosted by me, Shawn B. I was just getting into it about VibeHouse and how it came to be. The artists that I work with, some of the models that I worked with, how I got into sex parties and throwing them and stuff like that. As far as the entertainment realm, one thing that I've gotten involved in recently as well, that I'm really happy about, is my involvement in the film industry. You know, I've been kicking it with my good people here at iRock Local, and within the past year, I've been in 3 different films. I never saw myself as an actor. I never envisioned myself being in full productions of films and stuff like that, but I'm glad that it's going that way because I feel very comfortable, you know, when it comes to working with others, when it comes to being in front of the camera, when it comes to trying to portray a different character. Like, it feels good to me, so I'm glad that I got involved in that as well. Another thing that a lot of people said they wanted to hear from me as far as my journey was like poetry and how that started, right? So poetry is probably something that I've been doing the longest in my life. The earliest poem that I can remember writing, I was in maybe 3rd grade, and the teacher instructed us that we were going to write a poem. She explained to us what a poem was and told us to try it. And it was my first time trying it. And after, she told us that we all had to read them out loud. Everybody was reading their poems. I read mine, and the entire class started clapping. The teacher was clapping. I can't even remember what the poem was about. But at that point, I knew, like, damn, like, I'm good at this. And the way that people received me, it was an instant recognition that I loved. It was like, man, I feel like that was probably the first thing that I ever realized I was good at, right? So I've always been good at poetry. I was winning poetry competitions at Cobo Hall as a kid, all throughout elementary school. It wasn't until I got to high school and I started playing football and I really started being more concerned about girls and stuff like that. Poetry just wasn't an interest to me anymore. But when I got to Western Michigan University, it was different poetry shows. They had something called Black Love Week that happened right around my birthday. My birthday is February 11th. Valentine's Day is February 14th every year. So right around that time at my university, they would put on shows. And I would sign up to do the shows just because I was feeling good. And it was the same thing. I'd get on stage and kill it. So I realized that I was real good at poetry. Even like as an adult, I got reminded. And, you know, life stuff happens. I go through different jobs, different experiences, different relationships. It wasn't until 2021 that I came into iRock Local, came to Poetry in the Park, and started making my way around the poetry circuit that I realized, like, oh, shit, like, I'm really dope. And from my involvement with JOD, you know, being at iRock and kicking it with my people, so many opportunities have came up, man, and I'm so grateful and happy. I thank God that I started to come around these people because they just took what I was doing to a whole nother level. Like watching other skillful poets, being encouraged to do better, being inspired, being motivated to do things such as pick up and go to New York. Shout out to my brother Soulful Poetry. Soulful is a part of another collective of poets in New York, some dope-ass street poets, man. I want to say they call it Street Prophets. I don't want to mess that name up, but Soul invited me to come to New York, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. Kicking it with Soul, kicking it with Hakeem the People's Poet, taking me to different type of poetry spots, right? So I'm usually big on community stuff. You would catch me at local poetry spots all across the city. But it wasn't until I started kicking it with Hakeem that I started going to different spots that was like very eye-opening. Like he had me at the Charles H. Wright Museum, or he had me actually doing poetry at somebody's wedding anniversary. Things like that, just more personal, intimate experiences. And once again, I thank God for everybody in Jewels of Detroit. I thank God for everybody who's inspired me to be better, who's helped me become a better poet. One of the best decisions I've made as an adult was to join this collective, most definitely. So that's really my journey with poetry. And last but not least, I had a lot of people tell me that they wanted to hear my perspective on love, experiences, relationships, and things of that nature. Now, for me, I've come to realize and discover that it's all about self first. It's impossible to be in a healthy relationship with somebody else if, in fact, you don't love yourself. This year, I went on a self-care journey that made me realize how much I've been lacking on being able to love myself and nurture a healthy relationship with myself. So I've done things this year for the first time in a long time, such as painting. So I attended a self-care event this year by my homegirl, Aya. Aya put on a self-care event, and at that event, she had paint stations set up. So I got the opportunity to paint, man, and it really opened my eyes to just how calming it can be, how much it put my mind at ease, and the creative process of just picking out colors and taking your feelings and putting them down on the canvas. It just made me feel so good. I got a professional massage for the first time this year, and it had nothing to do with being freaky. You know what I'm saying? It was professional, and it was a good thing. I felt the anxiety and stress of my life and my job and things that was just stuck on me. It felt like the massage just released a monkey off of my back. I experienced a aromatherapy session this year, right? So smelling different things to help me feel better. So learning how to take care of myself and different things to practice self-care. Like I already had a therapist. Shout out to my therapist. But I had a therapist before. I've been through that. Other than, shout out to Iman Shumper for saying this, but other than haircuts and talking to my barber and talking to my therapist, like that was pretty much it for self-care for me. So I'm glad I embarked on all of those journeys this year, because it taught me that the better I love and care and understand myself, the better I can do that for somebody else. And that's in romantic relationships or friendships. You know, when you decide to really try to be there for somebody, it's hard to do that if you don't know how to be there for yourself. You know? So that's really my perspective on that, man. You got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. You got to love yourself first before you can love others. And going forward, because of my networking and being involved in the entertainment industry in the city of Detroit, I've met so many cool people, so many models, so many artists, so many actors, so many singers, so many public figures. And I'm about to get them all here at iRock Local, and we're going to chop it up so that you can gain some game. You know, entertaining conversations will definitely gain some game from these convos. So thank you for taking the time to tap in with the VibeHouse Entertainment podcast with me, Shawn B. Like my dad always says, peace and hair grease. Please make sure you subscribe to the page. And if you love me, I love you. If you hate me, I love you. I'm up out of here.